All right, all right, all right. Aloha Friday, everybody. Thank you for being with us this afternoon. Early morning for somebody in the West Coast. And if you're in Hawaii, it's really early. But today we have Traci Lamb with us, and she is the CEO, founder of Caregiving Worldwide Network. I am excited about talking with her today because somebody may ask, what does this have to do with leadership? And I'm telling you that exposure at the right level as a leader is critical. Traci, welcome to Aloha Friday Live.
Thank you so much. I'm super excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, she is not only a fellow Floridian with me here in the Sunshine State, but she is also a fellow Outlier Project member. I'm excited to host my fellow outliers because we really do make some moves in that. So if you want some more information about the Outlier Project, I'll make sure to put that link in the comments post the show. And if I have any fellow outliers out there listening in and joining us today, put it in there so that we can get that out there soonest. But Traci, thank you for being with us this Aloha Friday Live as we explore your community, right? What the things that you're doing in video, in marketing and exposure on TV, live streaming, all these other things that you're doing. But before we get into the conversation as it pertains to leaders, tell us a little bit about you.
Sure. So my background is in hospice for the most part. I worked in hospice for about 14 years. And while I was there, I saw what I felt like was a gap in the healthcare industry, in that anybody taking care of a loved one at home from any age, from a special needs child all the way up to a grandmother and everybody in between, they basically had they didn't have a one-stop shop for them to be able to find their products and services that they needed. So we basically have created a platform that helps the millions around the globe, that we educate, entertain, and help them find products and resources that will help them on their caregiving journey. A lot of them don't identify as caregivers, but that's basically the term that has kind of been put to them in this market. But that's basically what we do.
And that's wonderful because as a person that has had to house a loved one in a caregiving scenario, my wife took the bulk of that. But the family, it's a family affair. I tell you,
Absolutely.
once they're in your house and you have to do that, those caregivers that are doing the daily grind that most people cannot even imagine, right? Not only from the standpoint of having to care for someone, but in that capacity, it's a little more delicate. There is a lot that goes into how you are going to care for this person. In our position, it was an Alzheimer's situation, very tough situation to go through. So thank you, all caregivers that are doing this, sometimes without notice, and definitely sometimes without training. And
Absolutely.
right. So tell us a little bit about your caregiving experience,
Yeah.
and then what led. We'll get into what led you to the network itself.
Sure. I ended up, I started my company back in 2019. And by 2021, I was getting some pretty good traction. I'd won a couple of international awards and things were going pretty well. And both of my siblings have passed. They both died. Uh, my older sister died 15 years ago in a car crash, and my younger brother died 5 years ago from alcoholism. And when COVID hit, I moved in with both of my parents. And in the end of 21, they both got sick. And so I ended up having to put my whole company on hold for the next 11 months and become a full-time caregiver myself. And I took care of my dad until he passed in February of 22. And I still take care of my mom. My mom has stayed with me since my dad passed. And, it's been a journey. I tell people all the time, I understood caregiving. I could talk the talk of caregiving before I actually went through it, but I had not walked the walk of caregiving until I actually started taking care of both my mom and my dad. And It's very different to talk it than to actually have to walk it. I understand it on a much deeper level now than I ever did before I walked through that. And, it affects you in every single capacity of your life. You're going along with your life, and then all of a sudden somebody gets sick and you have to kind of plug in this person into your life, and you've got to figure out how to do that, whether it's emotionally or physically or spiritually or financially, or in all of those capacities. You have to figure out what to do and how to take care of them. And most people don't know where to find help. And you can't Google what you don't know exists. And that's the bottom line. And so that's what we decided to create. And I've been very, very blessed to get some enormous doors open for me. But that's basically what we wanted to do. I really wanted to find a place that was a one-stop shop where people could just go somewhere and say, this is what's wrong, and please help me. And they could actually get the help that they needed.
Amazing. That's so good to hear. And as, like I said, as a fellow caregiver, or at least I will give all the credit to my wife. I was a helper, right? But we have several people joining us. Sherry from Burrell Worldwide, Beverly Hills, and my brother Mike. And thank you for being with us, brother. I appreciate it. And so you get this thrusted really by the fact that you're the one sole person that
Yep.
can do this.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, even with multiple siblings,
Yeah.
there is always one person
Absolutely.
that gets the brunt of it.
Yep.
I don't understand it. having multiple.
Yep.
Your case, I do understand. You're the sole survivor. You're the sole person.
Yep.
But there are many others out there that are having this on their plate now,
Yeah.
having a potential help, but not getting it.
Yeah.
Is there some encouragement that you would like to share with those that are in that position? Because
Sure.
I know it's tough. It's tough all around, but it's even tougher when there's potential help, but it just doesn't come.
Absolutely. What I would say to everybody is two or three things. First of all, one of the many things that I have learned is that we're all a lot stronger than we think we are. We can all handle a lot more than we think we can. And at times you may sit there and think, oh my goodness, I don't know how I'm going to go on. But you can. The sun's going to come out tomorrow, and you can make it. That's the first thing. Second thing I would say is that honestly, there really are a lot of resources, phenomenal resources, products, services, resources that are absolutely positively amazing, that really will help you, and so the key is that you have to be able to find them. And part of my challenge was when I was back at hospice and I was looking at all these different things that people would call me about. People don't want to read blogs or articles about caregiving when they're in caregiving. They don't have time. They don't have time. They're like, I just want a quick answer. Okay, so I need a quick answer. So where can I find a quick answer? And I think that's one of the main reasons why I really wanted to get into, if at all possible, and I'm very blessed, like I say, to get into radio and TV, because, it makes it easier for people to be able to go and just listen or watch, or like with Safe and Sound, go to a website and see products that they can actually visually immediately know are vetted by healthcare professionals and know that they do what they say they're going to do. And they can immediately go ahead and find the answers that they need in a very quick time frame. Otherwise, you do get overwhelmed. You do get into a place of, what am I? And you feel alone. A lot of caregivers feel completely alone. They don't know who to call. They don't want to complain to everybody. They don't want to sit there. My father, I loved him to death. He was a very good father. He's former military. But my father was a very problematic patient. He did not like being sick. He liked being in control. He did not want to die, all of those things. And so taking care of him was really, really difficult. And, I didn't want to complain to anybody. I love my dad, but it was really difficult sometimes. And so sometimes when you're in that caregiving space, you're like, okay, who am I going to talk to about the fact that this is really hard right now? You don't want people thinking, okay, I don't love this person or whatever, but it can be in a really hard space. So I think one of the answers I want people to know and understand is that there is an entire community out there, lots and lots of people. This is an enormous space. There's over 58 million people taking care of a loved one in their home or close by that are unpaid, just like me. I take care of my mom, just in the US alone. So there's a lot of us. It's an enormous community. So you are not alone. And so that's one of the things I want you to understand is that there really is help and you really aren't alone.
I love that stat, and I just threw it in there on the chat because 58 million caregivers is not a small group.
No,
This is 58 million caregivers. If you all voted, you could change the tide of the states, right?
that's exactly right.
So,
That's exactly right. It's huge. It's a huge number, and it's a $600 billion industry. The reality
wow.
is that it is not a small market. There's a reason why companies like Amazon, Best Buy, Walmart, all these companies are getting into the healthcare space because this is an enormous market that needs to be addressed. And it's not something that's small. It's a global problem.
Yeah, and you mentioned, the amount in the US alone. Imagine if you took that to other countries, right? And so I know that this space, the caregiving space, from the personal, right? I'm not talking about the medical professional that has all the training and whatnot. I'm
Yeah.
talking about the house member
Yep.
that knows that you're coming on elderly years for your parents. This
Yep.
is looming, right? This
Yep.
is not like
It's
it's gonna
coming.
go away. It's coming,
Yep.
and a lot of people don't prepare for it. So you founded Caregiving Worldwide Network with the intent to be that source. So tell us more about that network that you created.
Sure. I love what I do. I'm very, very blessed. We are literally the only company in the world really doing what we're doing the way that we're doing it. And the reality is that I tell people they need to look at the aging process. I know this is kind of crazy, but like retirement. Okay. You're not going to wait until you're 75 years old and start saving money. At least not if you have any kind of wisdom. If you're like my father, who didn't do that and died broke, and my mom and I were almost homeless because he did that, then you're going to have a problem. But to me, you need to look at it as we're all in this aging line. Okay, none of us are going to get out of it. So if that's the case, then the thing to do is to sit down with the people that you love and the people that you genuinely care about and say, hey, I would really love to be able to just tell you how I'd like things to go if I do get sick and when it happens. It's going to make life so much easier for the people that are left behind. It doesn't mean you have to talk about it all the time. Have one conversation, get things written down so that they know what your preferences are. It's a very simple thing, but if you can do that, it's going to end up making it so much simpler for you. And the bottom line is at the end of the day, you're going to make their life to where when they're dealing with, oh my goodness, mom just got a diagnosis of cancer, right, and they're freaking out, they at least know they can go to a folder or an app, because there's a ton of apps now that you can get that can help you, that they can just go, okay, well, we at least know this part's taken care of. And it is going to give them peace of mind. And so what we have created with Caregiving Worldwide Network is very, very unique. We started the show last year. We partnered with a company called CP Communications. CP has been in the network TV industry for over 37 years. They professionally produce, edit, and distribute the show worldwide. And we are on their streaming platform, RHS TV. And you can see us on Roku, Hulu, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and Google TV. And we dropped 2 shows last year. Caregiving Worldwide was my first show. Did it with absolutely zero marketing budget. Had 1,000 people watching the first show. By the time the 12th episode dropped, we were at over 600,000 viewers across 7 countries, which shows you what a global need there is for people to find information about this particular subject. Then we dropped our second show, which was really my passion project, which was Safe and Sound. Safe and Sound dropped in November, and that is actually products and services. So it's kind of like a QVC for caregiving meets Angie's List for caregiving. And people can buy the products through the TV show or through the website. And it becomes a beautiful thing. We're really excited about all that's going on this year too. So it's just been incredible.
Now, there's a lot of folks commenting. Thank you for joining us today and taking the time to comment. I see my coach, Ricky Terry, in there. He's he's encouraging Mike, Sherry, and Kimberly. But Sherry asked this, and I'll put it on here, which is one of the predicaments that some families find themselves in. You may be a child, and other family members won't chip in. And so now you're a child. So she's asking what sources or resources are out there for children of sick parents.
You know, I actually just found out over the last couple of days, there's 3 sisters that have a podcast called Confessions of a Reluctant Caregiver. They're wonderful. Their name, JJ, Natalie, and Emily. They've been taking care of their mom for, I think, almost 20 years. I found out through them, there's actually an association of young caregivers. I will put that in the chat afterwards and put that association in there. And they actually help youth caregivers. It's a not-for-profit. And I will definitely put that in the chat for you, Sherry, because I completely agree with you. You know, the problem is that I knew from working at hospice, disease is no respecter of person. And it doesn't matter how old you are. It can hit anybody at any time. You know, it can hit children at the age of 2. It can hit, you know, a grandmother at the age of 101 and everybody in between. And so whoever is around, like you say, ends up getting with, okay, you got to deal with it. But that's a fantastic question. And I will definitely put in the chat. And I'm going to, one of the things too, so that you know, just very quickly, one of the new shows we're going to be doing this year is called Health Vision. It's kind of based on the idea of like The View. And there's going to be 6 different panel hosts that are going to all come from all different walks of life in the healthcare industry. One of them, Pamela Furr, if you want to look her up, she is on LinkedIn. She created a school. She had a special needs child, an autistic son, that she created a special school for him for all neurodivergent children in South Florida 10 years ago. 10 years later, she now has 3 schools. Her son is now going to college, and people literally from all over the world with neurodivergent children are now sending their children to her school. So I think and so I want to know and let everybody know everything on CWN is not just about older people. It's about really any age. We're going to be covering a lot of different things, mental health, recovery, addiction, a lot of different things, because the space is so huge and there's so many different things that really need to be covered and addressed.
Absolutely. And I love that the comments, like it takes a village, right? Ricky Terry just mentioned. It really does. It's unfortunate that you would get into a situation like this and family members will be like, hey, that's your thing, right? That's not my parent. You know, that's your parent. You know, that's not my sister. That's your sister. Things that people would comment. But Kimberly brings up a good point in this comment, which talks about healthcare directive. And I'm going to tell you, if there's anything that from a person that just gone in and you shaking your head like, yeah, from a person that has gone through it in terms of witnessing my wife.
Yes.
Like I didn't get a chance to even get that far. You know, my mom got COVID in 2021. She passed 3 weeks later. And so I didn't get that. You know, it was all hospital and then she was gone. But with my wife, this has been a document that had it not been signed
Yep.
would have been so detrimental. You're talking about just the weight of having to take care of somebody on
Yep.
an instant notice.
Yep.
Then you add the bureaucracy
Yep.
that
Oh, it's
comes.
horrible. It's horrible. Advanced directives are enormous. Okay, so I'm going to tell everybody about one resource that's really important. One of the main reasons why people don't have advanced directives is because of the cost of attorneys. People will say, well, I can't afford a $200 or $300 hour attorney. I don't have that money. I can't do that. Okay, so I'm going to tell you there's a program out there called Legal Shield. It's nationwide. You can join even just for 1 month. It's $30 just for 1 month. You can join for 1 month or you can join continuously. Doesn't matter. Go to Legal Shield, join for 1 month, get your advanced directives. They have attorneys that will walk you through, and you can get a healthcare surrogate, you can get a living will, and you can get a power of attorney. The reality is, and just very briefly, my sister died at the age of 47. She had a 13-year-old and a 16-year-old, and she had come out of a very abusive relationship. When she died, there was no healthcare directives because she didn't think she'd die at the age of 47 because she was hit by a truck. Both of her children ended up having to go back to the abusive father because we couldn't stop it because there was no paperwork. My brother also died at the age of 47, 10 years later. Again, he didn't think he would die early. He ended up going into a surgery that he ended up on a ventilator. He was on a ventilator for 9 days. You never want to see somebody you love on a ventilator. It's really, really horrible. My parents, because he wasn't married, had to make the decision on when to turn the ventilator off because, again, he had no advanced directives. It's really important to get advanced directives. It doesn't matter what your age is. I don't care if you're 18 or if you're 102. You need advanced directives. People you are leaving behind are going to be in a terrible, terrible place if you don't have them. So I'm really passionate about getting advanced directives. I'm really glad Enrique brought that up, or whoever brought it up in the chat. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Kimberly.
Really important. It's really, really Kimberly.
Yeah.
Oh, I should have known. Kimberly Arnold is the bomb, by the way. I'm just going to shout out Kimberly Arnold, Mike Ashebrander. Thank you so much for coming. They're the bomb. Thank you so much for coming, but really, really true. Really, really true.
Yeah, and I've seen it myself in practice here, where you have a reluctant parent that believes that you're trying to take over their life, and that's a hard thing to do as they get older, right?
Yes.
So these are conversations, folks, and you mentioned Traci 18. Yeah. These are conversations you need to start having earlier.
Yep.
Because guess what? As you are getting older,
yep.
I don't mean to just say that, like, you get stubborn.
Yes.
You get stubborn and you're fixed in your ways, and there may be some things that you may not be as happy to give over. Right. These are things that need to be said. And now we talk about advanced medical directives. Yep. These are the things that are in line here, but there are also other issues. Banking. You talk about real estate. You're talking about things that once you're gone, regardless of how it is that you go, someone else will have to take care of that. And what you do not want is something to end up in probate court. Folks, that is not an easy road to go through.
No.
And so add insult to injury, or a devastating moment like a death in a family, and now you're having your family members just to take care of things when you're gone to have to go through that. And let's help our families out.
Absolutely.
I'm one that I have it on the list. After this conversation, obviously I'm pinged like, hey, that needs to come to the forefront, because my brother died at 44 here in December. He never thought. No one thought.
No.
I'm the oldest. I didn't think I was gonna see my younger brother gone. And that's the thing. There is no guarantee to any time frame. So
Yep.
these are things that you must consider, folks. If you're listening, you have elderly parents, you are growing in age, talk to your children
Yep.
about it, because Lord
Yep.
forbid
Yep.
they end up in a situation like
Yep.
Sherry, right? Like Sherry. Uh,
Absolutely.
and it happens all the time, folks. This is not just something that just doesn't happen. All right, so I think we beat that one. Go see some legal representation,
Yes.
even if
Absolutely.
it's something that you have to go and do on your own.
Yeah.
Very important. So Traci, you start this network. You're
Yep.
mentioning TV now. You tell you
Yep.
these are things that we don't ever think of in terms of how do we get this voice out.
Yep.
We know social media has done a good job in some cases to facilitate some of that growth in business, or it has facilitated exposure, right? You do a TikTok video, if it's happened to be the flavor of the day, guess what? It just goes viral, right? So, but that's not sustainable.
No.
And that's something that happens every day. And sometimes you get your 15 minutes of fame and you're done. Talk to us about this, the integration of what you do with radio, TV,
Yeah.
streaming, because that's intriguing and exciting.
Yeah, it is. It's like I say, I've been very, very blessed. I have a great radio show. It's on every Saturday morning. It's on Legends Radio. Legends Radio has been around for a really long time. I tell people it's kind of the Frank Sinatra type radio station. It's based out of Palm Beach County, Florida. I do it with a beautiful woman named Miriam Leva. She actually taught. It's a half-hour show Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 9:30. You can get it on the internet as well as on radio if you're close to Palm Beach. But she talks about Medicare and Medicaid, because there are a lot of questions about Medicare. I've been in healthcare for 15 years and I still don't know all the answers. But Medicare Miriam is the bomb. And so she does the show with me, and then I promote the companies that I work with. We hit about 150,000 people every Saturday, and we talk to them about what all the different resources are available to them. In addition to that, like I say, with the TV shows, we are currently building an enormous network. I'm absolutely so thrilled. We had the 2 shows I did last year. We have 5 new series, 4 new series that are coming out this year, and 1 repeat. Safe and Sound is going to be repeated this year. We do have 2 celebrities that have signed on board with us. So we are very excited about that. They both have their own caregiving story. Katie Chen is going to do, she's a celebrity chef. She's going to be doing a show called Katie Cooks. And that's going to be for budget meals, leftover meals, all those kinds of wonderful things in a fun, entertaining way. We also have Dr. Keon Vu. He has been on Oprah and The Doctors and Dr. Oz and all kinds of places. He's doing Dr. Vu's Wonderful World of Wellness. And he has a really cool show that he's going to be doing. It's kind of edutainment, Jimmy Fallon meets Oprah kind of show. We're really excited about that as well. We also are going to be doing 18 shows this year in front of live studio audiences. We have partnered with VU. It's a production company, and we are going to be able to be in front of live studio audiences. So the caregivers are going to be allowed to actually ask questions of these wonderful TV show hosts that are all from the healthcare industry and are all experts at what they do. So that is all super exciting. So we're gearing up for getting all of that and having all those productions of all those shows. We're going to be doing, like I say, the Health Vision show. That's going to have 6 different panelists from, like I say, all different walks of life in the healthcare industry. Safe and Sound has got a new series that it's going to be coming out with this year as well. So all of those shows are going to be coming out this year. So it's going to be super exciting, and it's going to be fun. We're looking forward to it.
That's amazing. I know Ricky Terry. He runs his own show too. He does radio, and he says, "Wow, that sounds like a lot of success," and it sure does sound like it. And obviously, mic. You're amazing. You're amazing, Traci. You're amazing. Well, I tell you. So you mentioned this show in South Florida.
Yeah.
Is that Dr. Z?
Nope.
Okay.
I know Dr. Z. I love Dr. Z. She's so awesome. I adore her. No, the radio show that I do, like I say, it's Legends Radio. And it is an actual radio station that's been around for like 40 years. So it's not just a podcast, it's an actual radio station. And like I say, it does hit about 150,000 people. Our reach now on TV is about 3 million. So we're now reaching almost 3 million people with the radio, with the TV show. RHS TV, like I say, and CP Communications are working with us on that. They, like I say, they distribute and everything worldwide on their channel. So it's all growing tremendously.
So so you're venturing now to accessing the availability through radio shows. This thing is growing. I'm sure you didn't think did you right? It's always
No, I had no idea. Honestly, truthfully, and I tell people this all the time. When I started my company, I was like, okay, I live in Florida. I can at least help people in Florida. There's a lot of retirees, and I can help people in Florida. And it has become a much bigger machine than I ever dreamed possible. I am a person of faith, and I tell people, God just keeps opening doors, and so I just keep walking through them. I have been very, very blessed that we have connected with some amazing people that are really, really, people see the potential and the power of what we're doing and what we're building, and they see what we are doing, how many people we can affect literally globally. And it's not just, the beautiful thing about streaming, like I tell people, is that the ROI is infinite. They literally can get the information out there, and it's out there for life, so people can look at it any time of the day or night, for the rest of their lives, which is great. I love that, because people are in a bad place when they're caregiving, and sometimes they may not be able to watch a TV show until 3 o'clock in the morning, when everything's finally done, or whatever. And so that's good. That's why I like the streaming platform. It's much, much better than even just network, because of the fact that, with network TV, you may be on Friday night at 8 o'clock, but anybody who goes and gets a pizza while you're on Friday night at 8 o'clock, they're missing it. So the whole streaming platform has been a beautiful, beautiful thing for this whole network. So.
And how have you seen that? Because I know there's a lot of leaders that follow Aloha Friday Live. They jump on, they try to find some little tips for them for their leadership journey.
Yeah.
I've always been a proponent for getting out. Right, a leader that hides, that's like having hidden treasure. It's just you just got it underneath the ground there. But and you don't all have to be in every aspect of media, right? You don't have to be.
No.
But one thing that I do encourage leaders to do is to share their knowledge. And so how has the streaming, the radio, the TV, and all of that, how has that impacted your mission specifically, and how can leaders also participate in something like that?
I completely 1000% agree with you. The reality is that education, or lack of education, was part of the reason why I started my company. People didn't understand about advanced directives. They didn't understand about, like I say, all the questions that have to do with Medicare. My mom and dad thought Medicare and Medicaid would pay for everything. That's why my dad didn't save any money. It was like, what do you mean Medicare and Medicaid don't pay for everything? And I'm like, okay, we need to do some education. And that's there's so many other things like that in healthcare. There's palliative care and long-term care insurance. And the list goes on and on and on. That's one reason why I want to do the show, Health Vision, because they're going to be talking about all those different kinds of things. That it will be an education, but also entertainment type show. So people will be entertained, but they'll also learn something. And when they leave, they can go, wow, now I understand how it works, and how the things, different things work with the person that I love, or even me later on. You know, we will probably all eventually be in that space ourselves. So we have to be able to do that. And I really do believe in educating. I jokingly tell, I have like 3 different very dear friends that are all business life coaches, and they all have helped me tremendously, especially over the last probably six to 8 months. And really kind of helped me get to a whole different place. And I absolutely believe that as a leader and as an executive, you have to keep learning and growing and expanding what you know and how you know it, and doing it in the right way. I made a lot of mistakes. I'm sure I'll continue to make a lot of mistakes. You know, I'm human. And, but I look back now with the knowledge that I have now, and I wish I had done things differently, but I also am proud of the things that I've done well. So I think as leaders, we constantly have to keep pushing ourselves and pushing ourselves to learn more and more and more, because you're never going to know it all. There's always going to be more people that know more than you. And I have purposefully surrounded myself with people that know much more than I do. I have a great board of directors, and I have a phenomenal C-suite of people that really, really know a lot of really great things. And I purposely have done that because I know that at the end of the day, they're going to help the company be better, and they're going to help me be better and help me to make more decisions that are wise and will help everybody that I'm trying to serve at the end of the day. And for me, it's all about service. It's all about serving other people.
Absolutely. Now, from my perspective, for those that are listening, media has been the one key element that has separated me from the rest. And I'll tell you that I have been, Ricky, he knows that media is so powerful, and not being afraid of getting in front of a mic, because it's not comfortable, right?
Nope.
You have to grow into
Yep.
this thing. But
Yep.
there are some people that seem fearless, and I will say seem, because there is no such thing as fearless. You have some level of fear, but
Absolutely.
that have a smaller amount, and will be able to get on there and speak and engage and things like that. If you can do that as a leader and use that to not only display the wisdom that you've attained throughout your life, but some key elements to help somebody else out, gold mine, folks. So if you're a leader and you've been shying away from media, you might you might as well hang it up. You're only going to be as big as your limitations, right? So so thank you for sharing that, and what it has impacted you and the company. Now, you mentioned shows, you mentioned folks signing up, new shows and things like that. So what's on the future for you? What's on the horizon? What can we look forward to with Traci and her network?
Well, right now I'm really just concentrating on kind of being an executive producer, in that I'm having to put together all the shows, put together the hosts for each show, put together, what we're doing and how we're doing it, and keeping everything going. One of the beautiful things that we're starting to do is I now have an entire team working on Safe and Sound. Safe and Sound is my baby. The website is safeandsound.media. I really want to get that website to where literally by the end of this year, it can be AI driven on the back end, and somebody can go in and say, my mom has Parkinson's or Alzheimer's or dementia, and they literally can, all the resources that they need can come up for it. Because the problem is at the end of the day, nobody knows what to look for. If mom has Parkinson's or mom has Alzheimer's or dementia, they don't know what to look for. They're just like, okay, I just need resources. I need help. And where do I go? And what do I do? And so I believe if we can make that website really robust, then that's a beautiful thing. What's on the horizon for me is to continue doing things like what I just did with the University of Alberta. We just did a press release out, continuing to build strategic partnerships with lots of different companies. With the University of Alberta, they actually have a caregiving program they've worked on for the last 10 years. And they've created some beautiful modules for caregivers that are videos and fantastic things that caregivers can go on there and they can learn about how to deal with the emotional part of caregiving, the financial part of caregiving, all the different kinds of aspects of it. And it literally kind of walks you through. And it's a beautiful video set. They've absolutely done a stunning job of it. And so their videos are now housed on safeandsound.media, and then they're about to put the safeandsound.media information on their website as well. So we're cross-pollinating. So our people can see their information, their people can see our information. And I'm continuing to work and build stronger strategic partnerships. We're in the talks with another company as well right now to put their information on Caregiving Worldwide, because it's for employers. Employers need to start realizing that they need to do more for their employees that actually are truly caregivers. And so there's a lot of different things that we're in the process of working on as well. A lot of exciting stuff. We've become, we're working on doing strategic partnerships with Vive and Health. We just went to Vive a couple of weeks ago in LA, and we're able to take cameras and do interviews and interview attendees, because I want to talk to the employers as much as I want to do the caregivers. And like I say, there's employers. The very first person we talked to there was a man who started his company because his daughter got sick. And so that was the very first guy we talked to at Vive. So there's so much interaction, so much intertwined. Everything is all interconnected together. And we just want to help and serve other people. And that's all we want to do. So any way and every way possible that we can get companies involved, we can showcase their companies in front of live studio audiences. We can do all of that now. It's a really, really beautiful thing, and the caregivers can come to know them and basically become ambassadors for them once they leave. So it's a really wonderful thing. I absolutely love what I do.
Yeah, it's amazing. And Ricky says, I love it. And so do I. Folks, here's the address to that, and you go in there and find out some more. Traci, has been absolutely wonderful having you on Aloha Friday Live, explaining to us about the Caregiving Worldwide Network, also the Safe and Sound Media. I'm excited about what's happening for you. I hope to be a participant, or at least a very active spectator in what you're doing. It's amazing. And for all of you out there that are in a caregiving situation, today's show is to allow you to understand that you're not alone. There are resources, but as as Traci said earlier, you can't Google something you don't know what that you're looking for. You can't do it. And sometimes that's just not enough. There are people that have gone through these things that are more in tune with what is needed versus what's desired, right? And they can cut through the chase for you and get you the resources that you need sooner. So look at those websites. We'll make sure to post show, make sure that you get all the websites that you need to have in your repertoire there. But it's been a journey, both personally and caregiving. I know that it's been a journey for you, Traci,
Absolutely.
and for some of you out there. So you're not alone. We're here to support you, and we're glad that you joined us today. So I want to just update everybody on a couple of things. We did reach 600 on our subscription, our DTLW podcast. Thank you so much for participating and joining us on that journey. Somebody was selected, and they're getting this nice book, Unleash Your Humble Alpha, as soon as they get a hold of me. But that's something that we do. Every time we get 100 milestone, we get a free book. It's author signed. So I'll show you right here, right? They inscribe it, they send it to me, and I get it to you. So thank you for supporting us on DTLW Podcast. We really appreciate it. And obviously, one milestone down, here comes 700. So join us on that pursuit. We're also streaming live on Parade Deck. Follow me at 731, which is my Parade Deck spot. They are a military hosting site where they stream all these shows, kind of like what Traci has been explaining. But take advantage, right? Take advantage of the opportunities out there to get your stuff out If you are an expert in what you're doing, you have something to give, get on a streaming site. Join Traci on her pursuit of signing up great content and great folks doing stuff out there. Thank you so much, everybody, for being with us. It's been a great time. Traci, thank you for what you're doing. We're going to get together soon, so I'm looking forward to that. But folks, Aloha Friday. Thank you and mahalo for being with us. Have a great and safe weekend. And I wish you all success until we see each other next week. Well, we'll have another guest sharing great things. So thank you, everybody. Mahalo. Aloha Friday, everyone.